there's often this kind of dismissive attitude toward how gradual grooming, gradual coercion works. And it's often people that I think they just don't want to think about it very much, or they haven't been in a kind of long game manipulation, because coercive control is a slow burn, and it's getting somebody over from one lane of traffic to another lane of traffic in a very gradual state. So you get them to normalize something they wouldn't have done in very small little baby steps. So for instance, you look at how 2020 went. We had a gradual, first it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, okay? We're just gonna be inside for 2 weeks. So that was the first. Oh, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? Oh, okay, everyone's willing to do that. So let's just keep it going. Let's keep this lockdown going and see. So there was that kind of, oh, we have to because we need to stay locked down. We need to have curfews. We need to have you get a test before you do any kind of social event. Make sure you get a COVID test. Show your test. And so there was, and then of course with the masks, all of these things were, it wasn't all wham bam, okay, now we're in a completely new world where you just start wearing a mask and start having a curfew. Like each of these things were implemented once we said yes to one aspect. And in fact, it mirrors how emotional abuse works in a relationship. A relationship with somebody who is abusive does not start with them hitting you and saying, and that's why you do what I say. It doesn't, and just like sex trafficking doesn't start with somebody pulling up in a car and grabbing a 14-year-old and then putting them in a cage. Like, yes, those things can happen as well, but most of these cases are an element of often getting that person to associate you as, I'm doing this for your safety, I care about you. That getting that character established to the person, to the victim, is usually what happens. Is, I'm a good person, I care about you, is the first thing established. It was established with the leaders with COVID. We care about your health and safety. It was established with Andrew Tate. He says explicitly, it's best to have sex with a girl and make her love you before you start talking about doing cam girl work. So he makes a point. It's important to get them to love and trust you so that you can control them that way. And trust is about assuming that that person has your well-being in mind and they care about you. Same with the COVID leaders. Okay, they care about my health. That's why we're doing all of this. That's why all of these businesses, these are non-essential businesses, but Costco is an essential business, I guess. But they care about me, I have to go. So what emotional abuse is and what coercion is, when people have a dismissive attitude, like they made their choice, so we think about how people might say that with the vaccine. Well, they made their choice. No, they were very much groomed and coerced and in a constant slow burn, using a mix of fear and hope, and that was not giving you all the information and letting you make up your own decision. That was constant coercion. And with the Andrew Tate stuff, these people that did Cam Girl, when you actually read the case, read the evidence, and watch the videos of Andrew Tate self-snitching, his coercive control was, first he would get them to fall in love with them. He would have this idea, he would paint this basically a love bombing fantasy picture of what it would be like to be married to him. So then he'd buy a plane ticket, and they would get that, and they would land in Romania. They're in a foreign country. The main thing they're going on is, this man loves me, I love him. And then he still has maybe the love bombing when they're there, or he's gone and he's saying, hang out with these people. And then his women, the bottom bitches, they're called, they're the ones selling the girl on the cam girl work. And then he's acting like, oh, I would never force you to do that. So there's a dichotomy of him being, I care about you, and then this other girl who he's texting, which is what the files show, he's texting the bottom bitch saying, let's keep wearing her down to say yes. So let's first do some pictures in lingerie with this girl, or let's first do some TikTok dancing. And then gradually, once that person said yes to that, once the person said yes to, okay, I'm going to wear a mask, I'm going to 2 weeks to flatten the curve, then you can say yes to the next step. Because if you said yes to that, well, then why wouldn't you say yes to that? That becomes the kind of protocol. And so to dismiss things, to dismiss how manipulation and coercion works in this very black and white kind of either or, like, oh, well, they weren't forced in this way. It's like, well, force, and that's why it's important to understand how coercion works. It's not instant snap your fingers. It's getting somebody used to and even to doubt their own perception so that they go along. And so I think it's a shame when people are instantly ready to reduce situations to that, and it's like they want to blame people who are conned or manipulated, because they really don't like to give those people any credit, and they just like to act like, well, you were dumb enough to be manipulated, so hell with you. And it's strange, because we all have been manipulated, and we've all been fooled, and it's our hatred for, we often hate ourselves for being so foolish that we often like to pretend like, well, those people are so completely removed from how I am. I'd never be duped. I'm smart. And that identification with the fact that you're smart and you can't be duped interestingly makes you the easiest target to be duped, because you just trust your judgment so much, and you trust that if you like someone, then they're good, and if you hate someone, they're bad. And there's just not a lot of openness. There's a lot of rigidity, that rigidity to being certain that you can't be fooled is a guarantee that you will not perceive when you are being fooled, because you're just so certain. You've got to understand how the subconscious mind works, and to see that you might consciously think of yourself as somebody that just completely sees through everything, and your perception is absolutely right. But there are so many smart, conniving deceivers out there that will capitalize on all the things that you do hold as true already, and that you're already set on, and they will play to that. So that if you believe all those things, and if they're saying the right script, then you're going to be, whatever else they say, you're going to be more open to the suggestion of things that you may, like Andrew Tate has the conservative or red pill or manosphere, all those scripts down. And he can say a lot of truth about, even about control and coercion. So when he says that, then you associate, oh, well, he's on my side, he's on my team, or he sees through this, so I like him. But then he can be identifying truths and beliefs and levels of corruption that you think, that's right. So, but then that's how he lays the foundation for then being able to manipulate you and fool you in other ways. because you're attached to the beliefs that he's already espoused. That's how he controls you. Same with those, it's the same with those girls. They want to be in love and they want to believe in love. So he knows that, and he knows that that's the best way to get them to be under his control. And he says that explicitly and blatantly. It's not anything that somebody is even speculating. He says it outright. And then with the men that he's conning with the cam girls, he knows that they want to believe that a beautiful woman would leave her cam girl work and be in love with him. And so they're paying $200,000. They're giving away their savings. And he brags about that because, see, he knows that people's vulnerabilities are their beliefs and their hopes and their fantasies. So, and everyone's fantasy is to be in love, and a man's fantasy is to get a really gorgeous, beautiful woman beyond his league. And so those men that are being conned want to believe that, so they're more willing to suspend their disbelief for the other aspects. And the women are willing to suspend their disbelief because they want to believe that he loves them and cares about them. And then with manipulating the right, they want to believe that somebody who is really strong and takes no shit can be kind of a person that stands up for their beliefs, because they tend to kind of be a little bit intimidated by the left the left and Andrew Tate are two sides of the same coin. They both use shame and guilt and then creating the fantasy utopia of how things should be. They both do the same kinds of abuse tactics to the people that don't step in line with their beliefs. They always discredit by making their opponents dumb and evil. Andrew Tate does the exact same thing as the left. Everyone that disagrees with me is dumb and evil. The left says everyone that disagrees with us is dumb and evil, often racist, transphobe. They have all it's just always that ad hominem belittling smear. So anyway, we've got to look at coercion with a little bit more understanding of how it's slow burn. It's not a process that's snap a whip and someone runs. It has that later, but it is fundamentally relies on your certainty that you are smarter and cannot be duped, and it relies on the beliefs and fantasies that you are attached to. So they're like an anchor for hypnosis. So hope that was helpful.